Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. So pleased to have in the studio with us today our friends from San Diego Early Music Society. We have Pamela Narbona Jerez. She is the executive director. How you doing, Pamela?
I'm good, Drew. Thank you for having us.
Of course. We're thrilled and joined by your colleague, Khalayla Thompson. She's the communications and publishing coordinator for the society. How you doing, Khalayla?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. And back in the saddle, so to speak, I guess, is my co-host, Kristen Fogel. Did 2 years plus, correct?
No, it's 3 now.
Okay, 3.
Still never got that party.
So, yeah, okay, that'll happen. We're going to have a ticker tape parade.
Okay.
I'm convinced, for this over here. Kristen is the executive director of San Diego Writers, Inc., and just does a wonderful job at that role. And, of course, we're thrilled to have her as my co-host. And you've got a question for Pamela right out of the gate.
I do. I understand that you have a master's, Drew, in Baroque chamber music, but maybe we can hear from them instead.
Not Baroque or Baroque?
Baroque? I don't know. You all talk to us now. What is your mission? And tell us about the kinds of music that you present to us dum-dums.
Oh, no dum-dums. So we present early music. And so this encompasses medieval, Renaissance, and music from the Baroque. And so yes, if it ain't Baroque. And so our mission is to present really high quality music here in San Diego and performers. So these performers are at the top of their game, earning awards and accolades. And so we bring them here to San Diego to small venues, and we try to keep our prices very low so that it's highly accessible. And with that, we have a main series and a solo series, and that's kind of our international series. But we also have an outreach program, so to connect this music and the ideas behind the music to the community, the practitioners here, students, etc. So it's sort of 2 programs. Here's performance and also education.
Yeah, 45 years the program's been going on. If I got the math right on this, what qualifies as early music? Is there a date from the time we got formed as a planet to a certain time?
So it's really funny that the term early music to me is really funny because it goes anywhere from music early in the morning to early childhood music as well.
Yes, that's what I thought at first.
That's what I thought it was.
Right.
And it happens all the time because I have a little tote and people will ask, oh, is this music early in the morning or music for kids? And I go, no, but if you have time, let me tell you about it. So it's music basically from the time we started recording music in the West all the way up to the 1750s, usually the date we use. That's when Bach died, Johann Sebastian Bach. And what's special about this music is that the scores were very different, instruments were very different, and so the sound is very different, the context is very different. And so when you go to these concerts, there's a lot of improvisation, there's a lot of creativity that happens on stage that wouldn't happen in other, especially the classical romantic repertoire that we're very used to is, you know what you're going to hear and in what instrumentation. Here is, you've heard this piece before, you show up and it's like, oh, I've heard it done with, violins, and now they're doing it with recorders, right?
Right. So when was music first recorded?
So in terms of writing, we're talking about like the year 900, 800.
Oh, really?
Yes. But we feature, the earliest that we've done is medieval music, maybe from the 1400s, which is in itself crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
It requires a lot of interpretation. And so if you're talking about music from the Middle Ages, you have to understand that these people understood the world very differently than we do today. And so it's really nice to have musicians come and be very, very experienced, but also knowledgeable. And so they engage with the audience in a way that they bring them into this world. So you're not just listening to the music, but they're giving you this little sort of background story, because our venues are sort of small, so 300 people or so. So it's a very intimate sort of connection with music and archaeology, if you will.
Well, Khalayla, how did you get involved in this? What's your interest in early music?
So I actually played the cello for about 10 years. And then I grew up in a musical family. My dad's a musician, so I have a background there. But also, I just love the sound of classical music. I learned a lot more about medieval and Baroque music being with this organization. But what's so special is you're exposed to a sound that you're not with typical classical music. They're playing these pieces on medieval Baroque instruments. So, for example, a lute is like you can be compared to a modern day acoustic guitar, but it's completely different tonicity and sound. And it's a really different and cool experience.
So the question is, can you find these early music instruments? Is there a shortage of them? Are some of them just gone? There's no more. I know there's more lutes, but I mean, let's say lute went away. Is that a problem? Is that a challenge?
So a lot of our guest artists have sometimes original instruments,
right,
and sometimes they have replicas. I know one of the musicians we're bringing, Concerto Köln, is one of our audience favorites. The concertmaster, Shunsuke Sato, I think, we will have to confirm with him, but I think he was playing an instrument that was built in the 1600s.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And so there is an instrument that we use a lot in ensembles. It's called a theorbo. It's a very strange, gigantic instrument with a huge sort of bridge. And so traveling with that instrument, it's a thing, right? And so sometimes we rely on local musicians or folks from the LA area to provide those instruments to us so that our artists don't have to travel with an 8 foot.
I'm thinking about just the care and the storage of some of these. That's a whole subgenre of knowing about these instruments, I'm sure.
Yeah. And actually, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just going to ask about your background in music since we got Khalayla's. So.
Yeah. So I'm originally from Santiago, Chile. And I went to an all-girls Catholic school that had a madrigal ensemble. So this is a vocal ensemble of only girls. And I started singing with them, I think, when I was in 4th grade or 5th grade, all the way through high school. And all the repertoire we did was just essentially Renaissance, right? And so that is home for me, no matter what I listen to, what vibe I'm going for. This is sort of where I go back, and it's like my comfy blanket. And so I moved to the US in my early 20s. I didn't speak English, so I was in journalism back then, and it didn't make sense because I don't speak the language. So I thought, well, maybe I'll pursue music in the US. And so that's what I did. I got a degree in vocal performance from San Diego State, and then I went into musicology. Got a master's degree in musicology, and that's the full circle, sort of the writing, the journalism with the music. And then I continue to sing less and less because the society is growing and it requires more attention. So I'm not singing so much anymore. But I am connected to a lot of ensembles here, and I like to support them in any way I can. So by shout outs or just performing with them when they need.
Right. Khalayla, talk about the 2025-26 season.
Yeah, so we have a lot of talent this season. Some big names, the Gesualdo 6 with Owain Park as direction. That's coming up next month, beginning February 3rd. It's going to be a great performance. The repertoire is called The Queen of Hearts. So that's very exciting. Once again, Concerto Köln, which Pamela just talked about with Shunsuke Sato, and he's going to be playing violin and he's going to be doing direction. Max Volber is also going to be joining on recorder. And that's going to be a program of Telemann, Bach, Sammartini, Handel, and Vivaldi. That's later in March. Philip Jurowski is also closing out the season. He's one of our favorites. We've had him a couple of times, and that's going to be in April. Glee Incogniti with Amandine Bayer. It's her debut in San Diego, I believe. Yeah. So that's going to be wonderful. And then we have some solo series artists as well. On harpsichord, you have Jory Vinicourt on February 17th, and Benjamin Allard. He's a favorite of mine. He's doing 2 different performances on harpsichord and on organ. I met him my first season working with San Diego Early Music. He's wonderful. But it's going to be really exciting. The great thing about these performances is because it's such a small venue, you really get to speak with the artists and connect with them afterwards. There's usually some kind of conversation or almost like a mini history lesson, and you get a better look at the early notation because that's a bit different, and you get to see the instruments. So I'm really excited for the rest of the season.
Now, are there early music, societies in all major metros, or not necessarily?
Yes and no. So we work or we collaborate with a lot of the ones that are here. So there's one in Arizona, there's in San Francisco, there's one in New York, right? So very, very few. We're not a big bunch.
Right.
And so we do work together. So there's another one in Seattle. We are in touch. And so what sets us apart, and I'm going to toot my own horn here.
As you should.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And actually, no, shout out to Laurent Planchon. He's our artistic director. So what sets us apart is that we work with all of these organizations, I'm including Carnegie Hall, like big names, and we share a roster. And while they have 1 or 2 or 3 of the artists that we feature sort of scattered, we have them all. And so we manage, I don't know if it's because we're in San Diego and they like to come in San Diego in the winter and, they're coming
Probably.
from very frigid places. And so, but we do have a very, very strong lineup, and this is every year. And so what is happening is and the reason why I joined the society in the first place is I saw one lineup and I thought, who are these people bringing all these people? This is crazy. I need to meet them. And I did. And there were a small board of volunteers. And
and that's how this stuff usually happens. And the next thing you know, it's not small anymore.
Correct.
And then it's grown, as Kristen certainly knows, in the world that she lives. When we come back from break, I know Kristen has more questions for both of you. We want to make sure at the second half of the interview, tell us how we can support your efforts. Obviously, go to the concerts, no question about it. But if you need people to volunteer, to donate, of course, turns lights on. We all know that. Any other things, donate, loots. Okay. I was
going to say loot storage, big demand.
Listen, once again, because I'm an infant, I'll be talking about loots the rest of the year. That'll be my 2026 Word of the Year.
Oh, I love it.
Thank you, Khalayla, for putting that in my head.
Yeah.
For God's sake. We returned with Khalayla Thompson, Communications and Publishing Coordinator for San Diego Early Music Society, joined by her colleague, Pamela Narbona Jerez, Executive Director. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast in our 20th year. Very proud of that. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades is doing great work for everybody in San Diego County, whether it's food insecurity, whether it's music, whether it's the arts. They are on top of their game, and we will be right back after this short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
Drew Schlosberg, Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of the Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, nation's longest-running community podcast. In our 20th year, brought to you by the fine folks of Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades of doing, great things for San Diego, joined by our friends of the San Diego Early Music Society, Pamela Narbona Jerez. She is the executive director, joined by her colleague, Khalayla Thompson, communications and publishing coordinator, and back co-hosting the Spotlight Show, which I'm forever grateful, is the inimitable Kristen Fogel. She is the executive director of San Diego Writers Inc. Kristen?
Yeah. I wonder if one of you can speak to these venues. So Drew had alluded, in my world, I've also done theater for a number of years, and venue's important, but probably not as important as like the acoustic quality that you're trying to mine from any given venue. So can you talk a little bit about how you select those venues and what those venues are and what we can see in the upcoming season?
Sure. So I will give you a little summary and then maybe Khalayla can supplement.
Yeah.
So venues are always a topic of conversation for us.
I'm sure.
So first of all, the instruments our artists use are slightly softer than your modern orchestra instruments. Mm-hmm. Some of them are very temperamental. And so we can't have venues outdoors, for example. Mm-hmm. And so one example is the concert we just had on Sunday, Michał Gontko and Karina Marti, lute and harpsichord. The harpsichord was just misbehaving. We had used it before and it wouldn't just cooperate. And so she had to stop a couple times and tune, and she cracked a couple jokes. So the venues we need, aside from being sort of small and having that good acoustic, is sort of no carpeting, there's like all these sort of conditions. So we use St. James by the Sea, that has been in La Jolla, that has been our home for a long time.
Okay.
We work really well with them, and we're very thankful to have that venue as our main venue. Our artists love staying in La Jolla. So a lot of them will extend their visit just to be able to visit the town. We use All Souls in Point Loma for the solo series and for Maine, and we use St. Paul's Cathedral as well, across from Balboa Park. The Great Hall, so not the main church, but the Great Hall is very, the acoustics are great, and it sort of looks like a medieval space. But we are looking for venues all the time. And so we have used St. Bridget's in Pacific Beach. And so we're constantly testing, especially to get out of sort of central San Diego.
Sure.
So we would love to find a venue that was suitable for us in North County, perhaps in South Bay. I live in Chula Vista, so I'm starting to scout. Where can I be?
East County, we'd love you in East County.
Exactly. So we used to go to Cuyamaca, and I love that venue. But it was difficult for us. We're very small. And so it was very difficult to build momentum and to sort of get people to come. And because our usual audience members are in central San Diego, so you're asking them to go somewhere else. And so, which I would argue is worth it. but yeah, we're definitely looking. So I don't know if you wanted to add anything, Khalayla.
Yeah, I mean, the venue of being in a church, or I guess the benefit is that when you go to a concert hall, there's a lot of distance between yourself and the artist, but it's a very intimate experience, and also just the acoustics in that building. It's a really, magical place. And also, like, we're all in the pew together. There's a sense of community. A concert hall is great. But personally, having been to shows in both concert halls and in churches, I prefer our venues.
Yeah.
You brought the word up that Chris and I talk about incessantly.
Besides lutes.
Besides lutes, when we have an arts group in, whether it's early music, of course, or it's new visual performing arts, pick a topic, doesn't make a difference. The connectivity to what we need to get back to in this world, a little bit of empathy, what a shock in this area. That's what you folks do. And the beauty of music and the arts, it's colorblind, as it should be, and all that aspect of it. Talk about how you guys, I'll start with you on this one, Khalayla, and then pivot over to you, Pamela. How do you connect with the kids who have probably never seen a lute before or any of the other things you're talking about? They must go, that's an interesting instrument. I like the way it sounds. Do you go into the schools?
Yeah, we do. So we've done a lot of educational outreach events. Our outreach program really centers on that. That looks like workshops, master classes, but those are all free. And so that's to really get in there and connect with the community. We also have like one-on-one portions of those events, but we've gone to schools, whether that be, lower elementary kids or even college students. And those are also open to the public as well. We have a few actually coming up. So we have a Modern Medieval Voices concert that we're teaming up with in February, as well as a workshop. And that's a great way to kind of connect with the community. All of our outreach and concert events are all ages. So that really welcomes everybody. And then we also have 2 upcoming lectures in tandem with La Jolla Symphony and Chorus. The first being the portrayal of Jews and Christians in Bach's St. John Passion with Dr. Michael Marison, as well as the elements of a Bach Passion with Dr. Daniel R. Melamed. These 2 scholars are basically our contemporary understanding of Bach as a whole. So those are going to be 2 very exciting events, but they're both free. Everyone is welcome. So that's kind of how we make sure to connect with the kids.
Right. Is there a website people can go to see all the programs and the lectures and everything in between?
Yes. And so you can go to SDEMS.org. That's our website. And go to Outreach. And that's where most of the events will be listed. Some of them are up right now, not all of them. We are adding them as we go. But I encourage you to sign up for our email, because that is the way to go. So through the website, you can go in and sign up for our emails. I write them, and with Khalayla, I don't have time to spam you. So I swear you will only get very relevant communications about free events and about concerts. I wanted to mention 2 things with the kids. So we had a Halloween concert with an Italian harpsichordist, Alberto Busaccini. He's a friend of ours. And he dressed up as Dracula with a cape, and then went to play the harpsichord for little kids. And they were blown away, because this is really incredible music. The instrument is so weird looking, and they were oohing and awing and looking at it. And after our concerts and outreach, people often go to the stage to take pictures of these instruments, because they are little works of art. So we rent harpsichords from this gentleman, Curtis Baroque. Shout out to him. He's a genius. He's up in LA. His instruments are just stunning. And so people go in there, touch them and take pictures, and then selfies with it. Because it is sort of like a walking museum, like a petting zoo with instruments.
So I would love to do, when you guys come back on, and you will come back on, I'd like to do maybe bring in a school or a teacher or somebody that has benefited from it. I absolutely want you to bring in some instruments. Now, maybe it'd be tough to bring one down from LA. I get it. But I know you can bring the lute in, Khalayla.
A small work of art,
okay,
yes.
Exactly. Or anything else in this aspect of it. May even ask you to play some music. We've done this on the shows before. We're a big fan of that. We've had some budding songwriters that have actually played some of their music on that aspect of it. So we definitely want to do that. Kristen, what other questions you have?
Just how can we support your efforts? What else can we do? We'll come to all the concerts and everything, but what else?
So thank you. Come to the concerts, first of all, because it is something that you haven't experienced before. And the reason why is because a lot of these lineups will never happen again. And so they are, there's a lot of improvisation. And so what happened that night will be forever gone. And so it's very ephemeral. It's very special to me. So come to the concerts, check us out. If you're unsure, you can leave at intermission. Nobody's going to look at you. But go to our website. We have some volunteer opportunities. We always need ushers. We always need help helping our artists. Sometimes they need to eat in between rehearsals, and they're on very tight schedules because they're touring the U.S. And so any help we can get as a volunteer, you're welcome. You get to stay to after the work is done. You get to enjoy the concert for free. Any volunteering that we can get also for outreach, or if you want us to come to you, to your classroom for demonstrations, master classes, please get in touch with me, Khalayla, or with Bill Propp. He's our outreach coordinator. He's a board member and also a Berlin person. So any one of us, all that information is on the website. And of course, we really... we are alive today because of our donors. We really are. And these are folks that are very committed, very loyal, very generous. And they sustain all of it because ticket sales, obviously, we keep them inexpensive. And so they don't cover all the production costs that are going up and up and up. And so donate, volunteer, come to the concerts.
How about sponsor?
That is wonderful. If you want to sponsor us, please get in touch with me, Pamela at SDEMS.org. We only have a couple of corporate sponsors. Again, we're very small, so.
Let's get some more.
Yeah, let's get some more. Thank you, Drew.
Listen, well, there's no question about that. And we love having folks on. You cannot talk enough about the arts and early music. This is the first time we've talked about this. We're going to have you back on. Be thinking about who you want to have come on with you, what instruments you want to bring. If you're so inclined to even play some stuff on the show, that'd be wonderful as well. So, Pamela and Khalayla, well, wonderful talking to you. Looking forward to your return appearance. Kristen, so glad to have you back in the co-host seat.
So glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You've been listening to another edition of the Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast. In our 20th year, brought to you by the fine folks at Mission Fed Credit Union. 60 years of doing great things for people living in San Diego County. And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.